And we've had what, like 5 or 6 conversations where after we're done, we're both just like, wow, if we could have just shared this with other people because it was the best conversation ever.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And we care about the people that are here, watching these videos. And I think that comes through, that they can feel like they have a friend in you and they have a friend in me too. And that, it's corny to say it, but we are in this together and we're going to get through it. And we're all having the same emotions that you're having, and we're all going to be okay.
Hey guys, how's it going? So, a lot's been going on lately, and a lot of it isn't good. And many of you are feeling kind of sad right now. Some of you are feeling desperate, and many of you are feeling angry. And these are all okay things to feel. And I think before we can really truly move on and try to save America, because we can never become a communist country, we need to get through this together, and we need to do a little bit of complaining. And it's okay to complain, because none of the different due processes of the government seem to give us any type of conclusion. So really, it's come down to this. This government was formed of the people, by the people, and for the people. And we would have a government that would be there to serve us and serve with the consent of the governed. And when it becomes apparent that much and most of the government no longer serves us, comes right back down to just the simple things in life. You talk to people that you care about, people that care about you, and you just try to work through it. And that's what I've been doing. And I encourage all of you guys to find your friend out there, your best friend, the one that just gets it and that you can talk about this stuff. And that's what I've done. And I've been talking to my friend a lot lately about this, and it's really helped me, and it's really helped her too. So we were hanging out tonight, and we decided, you know what, let's just record this and see what happens. We weren't sure if we would publish it or not, but when we were done talking, we both agreed that it really helped us to talk through this, to do some complaining, and also talk about some strategies to move forward, because we are going to move forward, and we are going to overcome. And we said, you know what, let's just publish this. This is kind of going to be like a stream that was recorded offline, because we got a lot out of this conversation, and we thought, hey, if it just helps one person, why not share it? So I encourage you guys all to hang out with us. We really appreciate all of our friends on YouTube and love reading you guys' comments in the streams and down below the video. So feel free to chime in. And I hope you guys have friends that you can vent to, talk to, and start planning with, because we're really going to need each other. So this is literally no script. Wasn't even sure if we were going to publish it or not. So if you want to hang out with us, this is just two best friends talking.
So did you have time to follow the news today? Are you following the news or no?
I have no choice but to follow it, because everybody sends me messages of all the different links. And
I have been following it all day for 2 days straight. And people sending me stuff and Googling stuff. Well, now I'm trying to use Bing because, Google's going sideways. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on right now.
So you've been following the news nonstop for 2 days. Are you still singing?
I think so. I'm hanging on by a thread, but no, I think I'm okay. I mean, the stuff today with, you saw that their Amazon cut off Parler, because that just happened in the last hour. Did you see that?
No, I heard they were threatening to cut them off, but they actually did.
They are going to. It's tomorrow, so Sunday at midnight, they're cutting them off. So we won't have Parler come Monday morning.
So what's the deal with that? Is that basically they want Parler to censor and control and be thought police like all the rest, or are they going to get rid of them? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing that they're just trying to censor conservative voices in any way, shape, and form. And Parler just kind of blew up. And Dan Bongino, he said that he has more followers now on Parler than he had over on Twitter. So Parler is exploding and thriving, and I imagine they hate that.
Yeah, and I have twice as many on Parler as I do Twitter. So, yeah.
Yeah. But they said it's something about, I don't really understand all of it, but it's something about that's just like the hosting, like that's where he's hosting Parler. And so he can go and rebuild and put Parler on a different host site or something like that, but it's going to take like a week or two. So we'll get Parler back, but it's kind of just like the most important week or two that we need to be with each other, and we won't be able to in that way.
Yeah, so doesn't that kind of bring up the bigger point right now where, this election happened, right? Like whatever happened. And we saw all of this, what looked like to me evidence, all these things going on in all these swing states. And then the Supreme Court just wouldn't hear anything whatsoever. And then social media comes on there and says, you can't even talk about it or we'll ban you. So what do you think that's going to do? Is that going to make 75 million people just totally at peace? Or are they actually inciting people to do all kinds of crazy stuff?
They're absolutely inciting people to do all the crazy stuff that they're accusing us of doing. And I think that that's what they've been doing all along, is they've been playing one game and pointing the finger and projecting onto us, saying exactly what they're doing, but telling us we're doing it, telling us we're inciting the violence, but it's them. You can't have 80 million people not feel heard within an election, and then you completely censor them and take away their First Amendment. That's not how you're going to fix the situation. We needed an audit and we didn't get it. And I think a lot of people are really upset.
Yeah, and that's the thing with this country. We always talk about, America's this great country because we have checks and balances and separate branches of government. And then it's just like I was saying in my stream last night, Supreme Court, gone fishing, nothing to see here. We won't even let you argue, right?
Right.
I don't know.
And that's really frustrating. I think that conservatives, I don't even feel right calling myself a Republican right now. I feel like I just watched both of the parties merge into one, and it's a uniparty, and they're separate from the people. They don't represent us. They're now actually coming after us. So I think it's kind of like us against them at this point.
I know. I kind of feel the same way. So you and I were hanging out, like texting each other, right? When they were actually going through debating the objections, right?
We watched the Senate, right?
Yeah, we were watching the Senate.
Senators. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. You remember we were texting each other back and forth, and both at the same time. Me and you do that a lot. We'll text each other at the same time. We're like, Rand Paul, look, like we were excited, like he's gonna come in here and really shake this up, right?
Nope. Yeah. Nope. It was shocking. It was like one by one. They just cowered. It's just they turned into a bunch of cowards. And I'm just wondering why? Why did that happen?
I don't know. And here's something I've often thought about. I don't know if you have, but is it like there's good people maybe that get in, right, when they run, and they're really just going to try to take our country back and they're patriots? And then does the swamp and the establishment just force them to turn evil? Or were they evil the whole time and they're just super charismatic and tried to fool us? What do you think it is?
I think it's different for each person, but I do think that a lot of people have been kind of like asleep at the wheel, and our country's been really good for a couple decades, and I'm guilty of it too. So I'm part of, the problem, and I've just woken up recently to all of this that's going on. And so I think we have a lot of people in office that aren't looking out for our best interest. And we've talked before how passionately I feel about like the term limits. And I think there should be no one in there as a career. I think that if you're in there for a career, it's going to corrupt you. I think that they need to be in there for 2 or 3 terms and then get out. And we need, some fresh bodies in there with fresh ideas. So.
I know. I think you're right, because it's like that old saying that I think is true, like absolute power corrupts absolutely. Right.
Right.
And another thing too, I've always kind of lived by, like people who truly actually would deserve the power really don't want it. And the ones that want it more than anything don't deserve it. Right.
Yeah. I did wake up this morning feeling, I feel like I wake up every morning feeling like positive and optimistic, and I have a lot of fight in me. And then it's like these last couple of days, it's just like, it comes at you and it just beats you down. But I woke up this morning thinking that like, that's really what we have to do, is like focus on how we can rebuild. And I think we definitely have to get Patriots in office ASAP. Which I don't even know if that's, if we have enough time, because they're coming at us like 100 miles an hour. So at this point, I just hope we have 2 years to try to get Patriots in there. Do you think that we do?
I don't know. Here's the problem. It just depends how you look at it, right? Like, technically, if you look at the Second Amendment, shall not be infringed. If we even allow them to pass one gun control law, we've kind of lost it, if you want to look at it that way, right?
Right.
But yet, I hate to even say this, is it better to only lose one thing rather than to lose, like, completely all of it? I guess. I don't know. So I know that really didn't answer your question. I guess this is how I look at it. I think no matter what, we're going to lose a lot in the next 2 years, but we should stop the bleeding as fast as possible. And then instead of just playing defense all the time, we need to try to take it back.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what I was saying. I do. And I think there's a lot that we can do. I mean, I don't know. We're still kind of like in the trauma mode because I don't know what's going to happen. I'm like, is Trump going to, I've gone back and forth all day. I'm like, is Trump going to come out and say something to us? And I'm like waiting for him to come out and say something. But then I'm also like, maybe we shouldn't be just waiting for his plan. Maybe we need to, like, you know, the people need to figure out other ways to come together, and we need to take some responsibility back as the people and not just be like sitting around twiddling our thumbs waiting for him to come back out and speak to us.
I think that's one of the smartest things I've heard all day because, look, I understand why people are doing it, but all my friends right now, they're texting me and they're really smart people, but all they keep talking about is Trump, Trump, Trump. Trump has to do something to remain in power or we're going to lose our country. And of course, I'd rather Trump be in than Biden. I voted for Trump, but I don't think Trump's going to save our country. I don't think George Washington, look what he did. He didn't save our country forever, right?
Right. Yeah. Everybody's like waiting for that last trick up his sleeve and for the Hail Mary, and he's going to come in and save us. And it's like, I kind of feel like if we got together and decided to save ourselves, like that's our best bet at this point. Like we need to figure out, they've put us in jail and we can't just wait for Donald Trump to come along with the keys. Like we got to get together and figure out how to get out of jail. And I think that we could do it if we all came together.
Exactly. And I would like to see people, like you said, you can call us conservatives, patriots, I guess Republicans, but I'm not liking that anymore either.
It doesn't feel right now. It just feels like the Republicans, when we watch the Senate just completely all bow down and cower to the establishment one by one. I kind of felt like I was watching history, like right in front of my eyes, like the two parties just merged together to make one super party and cut off the people. And so now they're up here and we're down here and they don't represent us. They don't care about us.
Yeah. And it seems like they're not even trying to hide it anymore. Like they're just bragging that they don't care.
Right. Like I'm actually happy that, you know, that even if we don't even share this on YouTube, that we have each other. So I think it's going to be about just patriots finding other patriots. And for as long as we can, getting this out there. But I don't even know how long they're going to let us put stuff out there on YouTube because that's like the only thing left.
I know. I have no idea. And, you know, I don't know why people are surprised, though, really, if they stop and think about it, because most patriots love the Declaration of Independence. And it says right in here, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Well, if that's basically saying this is of the people, by the people, for the people. It never said in the Declaration the government would be of George Washington or of one supreme ruler. And I think people need to stop hoping Donald Trump is going to be our savior and he's the only thing that can save our country, because I don't think that's ever going to be the case. Do you?
I'm agreeing with you completely, my friend. We can't. I mean, it's like giving our power up. And then I started thinking, I mean, I had this moment of like, it's almost like trust no one. You know, it's kind of like, is he completely what we think he is? Is he really? I mean, I do think that he has more of our interest in his heart than the other people of the establishment. But then, you know, I've read so much and watched so much that it's like, is he the person that everybody thinks he is?
Well, look, I voted for him twice.
I voted for him too. I mean, I voted for him too. And, you know, I went to the rallies and I'm still patriotic and I think he's with us, but.
Well, he's not as patriotic as I'd like him to be, though. And I'll call him out, even though I voted for him. And I'd way rather him be than Biden, right? But Trump did draconian gun control with the bump stocks by executive action, which now has made the ATF go rogue and think they can come after arm braces and all these other things. So Trump's not been what I would want him to be with the Second Amendment at the very least.
Right. Right. Yeah, and they were saying that the whole Stop the Steal has made like hundreds of millions of dollars. The Stop the Steal movement, he's made hundreds of millions of dollars in the last few months. And I'm not there. I don't know where the money is going, but you just don't know. So I think that we still have him to lean on, but I think at some point the conservatives, the patriots, whatever you want to call us, the people fighting for America, the people fighting for the Constitution, I think that we're going to have to figure something out on our own at some point.
Yeah, unless we want a monarchy. I mean, we have to have it be of the people, running at the consent of the governed. And see, Donald Trump's interesting because, yes, a lot of conservatives and Republicans voted for him because, well, Hillary was the alternative there, and then here it was Biden. And that's like two of the worst possible scenarios you could ever dream of, right?
Right.
But a lot of Trump supporters aren't necessarily conservatives either. They're just... He had a very nationalist, populist type movement that a lot of people got behind, and so many people feel like they're just lost without him, and what are they even going to do next? Have you kind of noticed that?
Yeah, people are completely lost. And I get it that we need a leader, that strong leadership, it's all about strong leadership in hard times like this, and he is really like all we have. And it seems like everyone is turning on us, and it really is like he's the last thing we have and they're fighting for us. It feels like he's like the last firewall between us and the tyranny. But, even if something happens and he doesn't have that ace up his sleeve and he doesn't come in and save us in the middle of the night, I mean, we can still do it. I mean, there's a lot of us, there's a lot of firearms. There's a lot of smart people. I mean, I still think that we can do it.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, it's like hard to trust anybody right now. And
it's hard. Yeah.
I don't know that I trust him or not, but I trust you. I know I can trust you.
I trust you too. I trust you. That's why I'm like always wanting to talk to you and just talk to the other people that I trust.
And I hope everybody can find that, because if anyone out there that's listening to this or watching it, because I think we should post this. This is pretty good.
Maybe.
but people, just find that person that you can truly trust. And if you can start with, hey, I have you, and the other one says likewise, at least there's a little hope. Like, you can start with that, right?
Right. And I think people are going to be looking for like actionable steps, because everyone I see in the comments, everyone says, oh yeah, you're talking about it and you guys are saying this. What are you doing about it? And I think that at a very local level, I think we definitely have to stop relying on this big, glorious government and get really down to like our local level. And I think if we all went to our local governments, our county governments, and said, we don't want to use these machines are bad. We're not going to become Venezuela. I think, this is just me, that if we did paper ballots, hand counting, we got a receipt, I mean, that's going to alleviate the majority of this, what's going on. The machines need to go. So if we go at a local level to our governments and push for paper ballots and reject these machines, I think that would do wonders for us in 2 years.
I completely agree. We need to do that on the local level, reject these machines that are of Venezuela and get routed through Germany and Italy and China. And it's just crazy, right?
Right.
Also, look at my video that I just did today on 2AEDU. I just put up a thing saying, look, breaking. They're going to try to take our guns away at the state capitol on this meeting on Monday. Like, I just found out about it today. Right. So I think all of us in these 50 states need to really keep our nose down. If we see something that's wrong,
right,
tell everybody.
Yeah. And it's like just how you're out here educating people. I just think that's so valuable. And that's kind of like the most important thing right now is going to be information, because we have to educate ourselves to what's going on at all levels and get involved at a local level. We got to educate ourselves, because if we don't, we are literally like becoming slaves, and it's very ugly.
Yes. And I think all the fights are important. And what a lot of people don't realize, I'll share this story with you to hopefully inspire you, but maybe anyone else that's listening, right?
Yeah.
So there's this commission in the state capital of Michigan. It's not the legislators like you'd think, but this commission controls the rules of the building, like what's allowed on the property. So this commission, now this is totally unconstitutional, but it is what it is. So we need to deal with reality, right?
Right.
They can decide whether to ban guns or not. Two of the commissioners are appointed by Gretchen Whitmer. They're going to vote for the gun ban no matter what. Two are appointed by the Republican-controlled House. They'll probably reject it. There's two other people that are supposed to be non-affiliated. They tried this a few months ago. We called them and emailed them, and they actually rejected the ban, and we won. So like literally right now, people in Michigan can send emails and probably stop a local gun ban.
You know what? It works. I also saw, is it Lindsey Graham, the guy that was at the airport and they were,
yeah.
Is it Graham? But you know how he kind of switched his tune and he was kind of one of the people they were saying was turning on Trump. And then you saw those videos of the airport. And then I saw him last night on Hannity, I believe. And he looked like he was about to cry, changed his tune. And now he's back out there saying, repeal 230, I'm standing with Trump. And I'm like, you know what? The squeaky wheel gets the oil. So, people that feel like their voice doesn't matter or their emails don't matter, they do. And we have to right now. We absolutely have to. It's working. You had a story that it worked. What I just said, I think it had something to do with changing their tune.
It did. And you know what's interesting about what you said? And Lindsey Graham is the epitome of this. Do I truly trust Lindsey Graham to have our best interest? No. But there's one thing about him, and almost all these leaders have this in common. They want power and they want to keep it. So sometimes the threat of your vote means more than your vote itself, right?
Right.
So if we just need to get in Lindsey Graham's face and let him know, like, you're going to not win next time and you're going to be out, he'll actually have our back and our best interest, even if it's just to perpetuate himself, right?
Right. Now we know how to play him. We just have to figure out how to play the others until we can get more Patriots up there. I think that would work for a lot of them because a lot of them up there and, they're cowards. They really, really are. And they haven't had to really, earn what they have. They've kind of been really comfortable because no one's been putting pressure on them. So, I do think that the pressure is the way to go.
You're right. And nobody from our side has been putting enough pressure, but the other side constantly. I saw Ted Cruz go from this. Remember back to our text messaging? Me and you were like, Cruz Holly 2024, right?
Right.
Well, the next day when AOC called Cruz out, and then Cruz just bowed down to her and started talking like AOC.
Right. And to the point of AOC, what she says is, we can't even pretend that that's intelligent or sensical, what comes out of her mouth, but she gets heard because she's the squeaky wheel. So they give her oil all the time. What's coming out of her mouth is it's not right, but your voice does matter and your voice is heard. And if we all start making those calls, sending those emails, showing up, acting out like that, not violently, we're not violent. All the violence at the storming of the Capitol, that's not what I'm saying. But I think the voice and the other stuff we mentioned, that's going to make a huge difference.
Yes. And here's the thing too. I'm glad you brought up the thing of storming the Capitol. Whether we want to acknowledge it or not, our country was formed on violence. Like it actually was. The shot heard around the world, Lexington, Concord Bridge, all of that, right? However, there's a big difference here. The Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. We can't just ignore that well-regulated militia aspect. Because well-regulated, as you know, back in the 1700s, it didn't mean restricted or anything like that in a bad way. No, it meant disciplined, trained, at the ready, organized, structured, right?
Right.
It took them years before 1776 when they declared, the Declaration of Independence. It took them years to get all these men together, and they used to drill regularly until they had a leadership structure, concise plans, right? They knew how to fight together. And I think a lot of people are kind of conflating the two things. They're like, well, hold on a minute. Our country was formed on violence. So just a couple hundred people or 1,000 people storming the Capitol with no organization at all. That's how the country was formed. Not exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think the storming of the Capitol, that's a totally different one. And I'm not even sure how it got started. I definitely don't. The blame that they're putting on Trump and the consequence that they're giving us of complete just removal of our First Amendment and censoring us like crazy. I think that's insane. That's showing us the level of tyranny that they're after over us. But I don't really think that Trump was inciting the violence. I really don't think that.
I didn't hear any at all.
I didn't feel that way at all. And, all the videos of them opening the gates and waving them in and handing them the tools through the windows. And, I just wonder, we know Antifa was there. We know BLM was there. They were right in the thick of it. And I just wonder how that even happened. Crowd control is a funny thing. There was a lot of people there. And if you see people running into the Capitol, it's, people are going to follow.
Yes, especially when you see a guy with a uniform on and a badge. He's clearly, a cop or guard, and he's opening the door for you. You're like, okay, I guess it's open for tours right now. Really?
So here's my question, because you saw the videos too, right? Of the uniformed people that were ushering him in. You saw that?
I did. I saw countless.
So is this planned by the establishment because it's all part of their, the soap opera that we're all watching? Or are the uniformed people patriots and they did not like what was happening in there? I can't figure it out.
You know what? It could be either one. And I have mixed feelings about it. And that's why I gave that whole thing like, yes, violence we're peaceful people and we want to be peaceful. And we're not going to advocate any violence on this channel. But our country was formed out of violence, but it wasn't just people just like without a plan running in there. Yeah. Battles are often won before you even start the fight. Like they're won during the planning and strategizing phases. We had a well-regulated militia. So no, they weren't going to really win anything by doing it that way just because there wasn't enough. It wasn't planned. It was totally different than 1776, right?
Right.
But I still feel, though, at the same time, I still feel there was a sense of patriotism to what a lot of those people were trying to do. They thought they were going in there and trying to save their country. Because you have to remember, this is not me asserting this opinion, but there's a study put out there. Now, according to YouTube and the AP, the election was completely fair, right? But according to 39% of all the people in this country, they believe the election was rigged. So I think a lot of people truly believe they were being patriots and going in there to try to save our country from a rigged election.
I have seen so much evidence, and the fact that they don't even care about us enough to give us an audit, it makes me just so furious inside that I understand what these people were feeling, and they were trying to be heard. We literally voted someone into office and you took him away from us, and we're trying in the I thought that it was a very patriotic thing. And here we are in the final moments trying to go in and save our country. And they weren't violent. They didn't have weapons. They weren't shooting in, but one of them shot Ashley Babbitt, and no one seems to want to say her name.
I said her name.
I know you said it last night. Yeah.
It's interesting. So look, I think many people truly believe they were being patriotic. I think maybe the founding fathers were a little more well-disciplined and more well-organized is why they were able to succeed a little better.
Yeah, that was like a spur of the moment thing. But you know what? I'm sitting here even like realizing that like I'm holding back what I want to say about the storming of the Capitol because they've already, they use language and what they're doing to control us right now. And, certain things we can't say. It's like, I already feel right now, like I can't really say fully exactly what I think about that because, I like Big Brother's watching or something. Do you know what I mean?
I feel the same way. And that's why.
And I have to be like, oh yeah, I think it was patriotic, but like, I really feel like 100 times more than that. It's a shame that they're doing this to us.
I know. And that's why I just had to say, the official viewpoint of this channel is that the Associated Press and YouTube said it was a fair election. Because you actually have to say that or they'll take your video down.
That's so great.
A study says 39% of the people think it was rigged.
Right. So the way to get past that is to just take all their voices. No, we should have had like at least if they didn't want to put it through the courts, there should have been a public audit forum. They should have released the information in that phone call where they tried to make Trump sound like he was some crazy person, abusing and bullying the people from Georgia. No, he was begging for the truth. That man was begging for the truth, begging for the information. And they sat there silent, hiding behind their attorneys. And they don't want to give us the truth. They don't want to give us any information. They just want to take our voices away and move on with their tyrannical march to, I don't know, socialism. Like, I don't know. What's the end goal? Like, I don't really even understand what's the end goal now. This is getting crazy.
It always goes in this full circle. The end goal, it seems like, is to become socialist, which socialism, communism, there's no difference. It's the same thing. I don't care what anyone tells me.
Yeah.
Then it's interesting, though, because once a country's all become socialist, the people always want out of it and they want to break out. And guess who saves them every time? The United States comes in and breaks down socialism and communism throughout the world and saves all of them.
So then what? Then what is this? Then what are they doing to us right now? I don't know.
That's what's so messed up about this, and that's what everyone's asking. Well, not everyone, but half of America's asking, right? Like, why are all these veterans that served in wars to take down socialism? Remember Reagan, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall with the Berlin Wall, right? And like, we've always wanted to reject that in this country. Now it just seems like they want to run to it as fast as possible.
I wonder, like, what's changed? Like, why are we here? I honestly, this past week, I can't believe that this is America. This feels like the Twilight Zone. You couldn't have even told me even 6 months ago, and we were already in a Twilight Zone, that the Twilight Zone would get to this point. Like, really? Taking people off Twitter, like they're going to take Parler down from us. They're going to try to, I don't think they'll impeach him. I think that she's just a loon, but they're going to keep going. And I already know they're going to come for the guns, hate speech. They're going to try to control our language, and we can't say we're patriots. And that's ridiculous. It's hard.
No. And I'll let everyone else in on something that you know about, because about 5 minutes before my stream was supposed to start last night, Friday, I had talked to my wife, and she was giving me some tips. Then I called you at the last minute. I was like, what do I do? Like, and you know me well enough. I like literally get on my streams, no script. I'm completely comfortable. I just sit and hang out with people, like natural. I'm calm. My heart's like normal heart. Like, I don't get nervous. You know that, doing my streams.
Yeah.
I called you up like nervous, like, what the heck do I do? I don't even, like, I know how to stream in the United States of America. And I got on there last night. Like, I don't know. Did you remember, like, when I called you? I'm like, what do I do? Right.
Yeah. And we give each other, we're there for each other a lot and give each other a lot of really good advice. And I actually felt bad after it. Like, I didn't know the magical thing to tell you, because usually I can help you through the problem as your friend. And I was like, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know. I think you did good. And I think that, you're helping a lot of people by being on here, just talking, just being here for the people, I think is really valuable.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to hear your voice. And I think that people should be reminded, sometimes just calling your friend and saying, are you all right? Even if you can't truly give them any direction, maybe just if they hear your voice, it'll cheer them up a little bit, right?
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm sitting there thinking, and going off what you just said, I'm like, man, what are we becoming? So I get on my stream, and I'm like, guys, I'm not going to say happy Friday. I have too much respect for you guys to lie to you like that. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to talk in North Korea and in China. Like, I'm not used to streaming in that country, and I don't know how to do this right now, right?
So where does it go from here? I just feel like I have this thought that whenever they take something away from us, it's really, really hard to get it back. And so what they've done in the last 24, 48 hours is they're coming after our First Amendment full force. And it's like, you think they're just going to give it back to us next week? I'm like, how are we going to get that back? You know what I'm saying?
No, you're totally right. It's always like 1,000 times harder to get it back than it is to prevent.
I mean, have any countries ever like started down this path towards, I don't know, socialism, communism, whatever, and then fought and held it off?
Yes, but it seems like the United States is always the one that comes in and helps save them. And that's why there was a guy from South Africa in my stream last night in the comments. And I was like, hey guys, look at this guy. You want to talk about persecution? Try to be a person of his color in South Africa right now. Like, it's bad. This guy's so proud. He just got his Taurus G3. He's been trying. He bought it. He's legal. He paid for it like 6 months ago, and he's been leaving me comments, taking me along his journey, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it's like to be a gun owner in South Africa. But you know what these people tell me from South Africa, from the UK, from Italy, just all over the world? They say, you guys can't give up because there won't be anybody left to save us. Like, you're the ones we're hoping will come and save us from our socialism and tyranny.
Yeah, if you really think about it, the Patriot Party, Patriot portion of our country, these 75, 80 million, whatever these people are, that is the last bit of the planet standing in the way of these crazy elitist Illuminati, World Economic Forum, whatever they are, the swamp, the scum, of taking over the whole world and controlling everything and making us their slaves.
Yeah, I agree.
Us, we're it. Like, that's it. Like, I know the whole world is watching us. The whole world is like wanting us to fight back.
Yeah, and we need to do it. For some people come right in the comments and say, who cares about the rest of the world? Okay, whatever. I think there's good people in the rest of the world that I care about individually. Why not, right? They're good people. But that's not the point. The point is, we're the country that's always helped the rest of the world. We're not going to have like Great Britain come over here and save us if we follow communism. And I think people need to realize that, right?
Right. There's no one coming in to save us. Yeah. People do need to realize that. People,
yeah,
that's a flawed mentality. And I think a lot of people just kind of like give that up to the government and think, oh, someone's going to come in and save me, and Trump's going to come in and save me, and this can't really be happening. And it's like, no one's going to save you. Like, this is happening. I think a lot of people need to face that, because that's really where we are.
Yes, exactly. And we can't just sit there and say that just because we love everyone and we accept everybody, that they're actually going to truly care about us, when really we probably only have like maybe one handful, if you're lucky it could creep into the second one, people that truly even care about you, right?
Yeah, I told you that so like through this whole thing, and you've been there for me, and I'm so grateful for our friendship, but I've been through every emotion in this roller coaster. And when I had my sadness, like there's a moment of heartbreaking to just realize that there's so many people out there that are, it's evil. It's an evil force, and it's the opposite of God and good and light. And to realize that that's out there, it's like heartbreaking and hard to grasp. It really is. But it makes me so much more appreciative for you and all the other good people, like the people that you've created in your little community. It's such an awesome group of people. And I'm just so grateful to be able to hang out with them. I don't know how much longer we're going to get to like do this, but I'm grateful that we have that right now.
I same thing. Like, I'm so appreciative of you, literally you. And then same thing. Like, I'll often reply to people in my comments, like, thank you for the encouragement. When I say that, I truly mean it, because I'll bust my butt to put a video out. And what people don't realize is I'll have 10, 15 people within the gun community come in and completely ridicule me. And they'll be like, what the heck's your problem? You're not hardcore enough, or you're too hardcore, and all this crazy stuff. And then it's just the simple things in life that like give me the encouragement to do the next video, and someone will be like, man, I just really appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, there's still hope. Somebody else out there actually cares. So let's keep pressing forward, right?
Same. Like, I'll be having like a hard day or a hard moment, and then if I see someone left a comment that's encouraging or supportive or kind, it just like changes the day. I just feel so lucky to be able to like be on this platform and be with you.
Yeah, and as far as being lucky, you are right on that. I have no idea. I say this 100 times because it's true. Like, I don't know where all these people come from, but like the people that hang out in my comments and in my streams, they're like seriously the best people like in this whole country, right?
They are. And like, I follow a bunch of other people too. And, you know, I'm in chats and on other channels, and there's something about this chat. And I've even like seen people come into your chat. Sometimes I'm like, wow, this chat is like, because usually it's scummy and trolls, and like, you don't really have a lot of that. It's just like a really a high concentration of a lot of really good people.
Well, we have the best moderator ever too, though. So
yeah. I love it.
And I say like in this country, I need to correct myself. Mateo's awesome, by the way. Yeah. No, like the world, like some of these people from South Africa, they are like so awesome. People from Great Britain. There's this one guy, literally, his name's Dutchman99. He comes in every single video and he puts up like equal amounts of like American and British flag emojis. And he's just like totally rooting for us 100%.
That's awesome. Yeah, they are.
What's that?
Yeah, they are. The world is rooting for us. They want us to keep America.
And I think we can, you know, and here's kind of where I'm at. And you and I have been talking about this quite a bit, but both of us still kind of woke up a little bit today sad, right? Like, we're still not completely over this, are we?
No. Nope.
And I totally want to offer encouragement for people, but I think right this second, maybe over the last few days, I think it's kind of good that we're kind of a little bit sad. We're a little bit angry. We feel a little bit hopeless because it says right here in the founding document, right? Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. There's so much wisdom in there. Like, if we just keep on, like, oh, it's okay. It's not so bad. They're just doing a little bit of this and that. We're never going to stop it. Do you agree?
Completely. I think that now is like a window of opportunity. And I think every week, every day that passes that we don't, make a call, send an email, push back in some way. Everyone should be doing one thing every single day to move it forward. If no one does anything for a couple weeks, I mean, this is our window.
Couple weeks. We don't have a couple weeks for people to do nothing. You're absolutely right.
Every day, every one of us should call someone, email someone, something.
There's something going on corrupt in everybody's state capital right now somewhere. Probably even in your county, something you need to be working on. Of course, the federal government. We don't even need to say that, do we?
No. I mean, it's so corrupt. I don't even know how to go about fixing the establishment of the Democrats and Republicans that are in there right now. It's so bad. And I feel like they're separate from us. Do you feel like they're still attached to us? I just feel like they're separate now.
No, I feel like they're rulers and they're supposed to be public servants that serve us, right?
Right.
They feel like a ruling class. And you know why? Again, you and I were talking while this was going on. All they wanted to talk about is their freaking building. We need to protect this building and these hallowed halls of this great building, right?
When they were saying that, it was really frustrating to me because I really believe the government is by the people, of the people, for the people. Therefore, that building that they're in, it's not their separate building that we're not allowed to touch or go in. That's our building.
Bingo.
That's ours. That's not yours. That's ours. It was, and the way that she was up there talking about it, oh my gosh, it was just making me so furious inside. They're not up here and we're down here. It's you're supposed to represent us. We're supposed to elect you into office. But now we come to find out that all the people we've elected aren't even in office because for the past couple decades, some crazy stuff has been going on and they've been pulling the strings and placing people wherever they want to place them. And so now we have this completely severed establishment that we did not elect that's coming after us. It's serious. That's just my take on it.
According to a study that she's citing, Susan, because the official position is the AP said there has been no evidence thereof, right?
Right.
So, no, that's seriously what's going on right now. We're not supposed to have a monarchy. We're not supposed to have this ruling class where you're just born into absolute power the rest of your life. But here's the problem. It says literally they would derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. And I feel like for so many years that these evils were sufferable enough where people just consented them to anoint themselves up as these deities. And people somehow have been fine with that for generations.
They've been asleep. I mean, and I feel like I'm responsible for that too. People have been asleep. I haven't known. You've been in this for a lot longer than me. I'm new to all of this, seeing everything that's going on. Yeah, I was asleep at the wheel and I feel pretty bad about that.
And I feel bad too, because maybe I was more politically involved before you were, but maybe I didn't do a good enough job trying to motivate more people. All of us should really share the blame equally at this point.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. I guess it's not time to blame ourselves. I mean, it's time to try to think forward and how to rebuild and do something positive about it.
Right. So I think right now, and that's why I think these are good conversations for everybody to have, because people will sit there. As long as they're accustomed to it, they'll deal with it. And I think as a true way to move forward, we almost need to acknowledge and get really pissed off we've reached rock bottom, because I'll read the next sentence in a declaration where it says, but when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. that it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government, to provide new guards for their future security. So I think people need to really acknowledge like how crappy it really is, get ticked off enough, get sad enough, and then maybe for once people get off their butts and have a little motivation to try to turn this around.
They will. We're going to do it. We're going to motivate people. I think they will. I think that people were in that period, like you said, where people are kind of sad and mad and working through like the traumatic emotions that we're going through to realize what's happening. But Patriots are awesome. And I believe in the Patriots and everybody on our side in this thing. And I think that good is going to prevail. And I still think we have a chance. I think we're going to do it.
It has to prevail, because really we can talk about socialism and communism versus democracy and republic, and we should talk about those things, but it's truly just a battle of good versus evil, isn't it?
That's exactly what it is. It's good versus evil. It's so evil. I mean, I've been praying so much. I haven't really prayed much my adult life, but I'm telling you, I've been praying a lot more lately. It's evil.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing, because we can't be praying and worshiping buildings like all these people do in Washington, because these people aren't going to save us.
They are the ones that want to hurt us. Yeah, they're definitely not going to come save. No one's going to come save us. And as far as Trump goes, I mean, I hope he comes out and has something up his sleeve, but I don't think we should count on it.
I don't think we should.
What do you think of that? Did you hear that they were saying he's going to take over the emergency broadcast system? I was wanting to ask you about that all day.
I've heard about that a lot today.
Did you? What do you think?
Look, first of all, probably not. Probably not. But I think you brought up something that's kind of philosophical, okay?
Okay.
Really what it comes down to is this. I get it. People want to have hope, and they just think by any means necessary. I think people should dig in deep and use that hope to actually start working on things that truly matter, like you just got done saying. We need to wake up. We can't go 2 weeks without writing someone or calling somebody right now. I think people think they're just going to wake up and Trump's going to overtake the emergency broadcasting system. He's in a base deep within the mountains, and he's going to come out with his generals, get on the emergency broadcasting system and say, I have declared myself to remain president, and I am your leader, and I'm not going anywhere. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people are thinking that. I mean, I've talked to other people all day long, and they're like reaching. They're still in denial. Like no one is ready to accept what's happening. And I kind of think the sooner we accept what's happening, the sooner we can help each other to move forward and like actually do like real tangible things to help us, because everyone is still wanting to reach for that. Like he's going to take over our TV. He's going to pop on our TV out of the blue and drop these bombs of like information and save us. And he's our president. And we can go back to like, being peaceful again. And I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's coming.
No, there's no way for that to peacefully happen, because imagine what the left would do if he literally actually did that. There would not be peace in this country, because here's the thing, the left's at way better than us. The left actually does get out there, and they do actually riot. And when they destroy and pillage stuff beyond recognition and many people die, they're somehow domed heroes, and they say that this is a just fight and that they're good. So literally, if Trump came on and did that, the left would come in and like burn down this whole country and be considered heroes for doing it.
It's so backwards. It's so backwards.
It's insane.
I have no idea how we got here to this point where one side of the country is allowed to do things that hurt other people. But it's like, I don't even think that we really want to do that. Yeah, it's just so hypocritical. It's just such a double standard.
I don't want to hurt anybody. Being part of a well-regulated militia, yeah, sign me up. That's our duty from the founding fathers. But just like out there just destroying stuff just to watch it burn, I have no desire to do that personally.
No, me neither. I don't like, what do you get out of that? It's just so weird. But we have, and it's kind of how we connected, is like the Second Amendment. We have the Second Amendment. We have our firearms, and that's a lot more than the rest of the world has. And I think that that's got to be scary for them at the top, that there's all these people with all these firearms. So they're definitely going to come after them as fast as they can. But that's what gives me hope. I think that's the last firewall. I don't really think it's Trump anymore. I think it's like the people and the well-regulated militia, like you always talk about. I think that's the last firewall between world global tyranny and the Patriots.
Of course, that's our last firewall. Look, it's our first firewall we ever had. It's our current firewall. It's our future firewall. Like, it's like the omnipresent firewall, if you think about it, because these rights weren't given to us by George Washington. They weren't given to us by Abe Lincoln. They weren't given to us by Donald Trump. These are our natural God-given rights. So that is literally all we have. And they didn't give them to us, but it proves, like you said, how afraid of us they really are, or they wouldn't be trying to take them away, right?
They're exactly. They're so afraid of us. Why do you think they're censoring us? I think they're cowards. I think they're like all, cowered in a corner, just hiding because they're afraid. I think that they're completely afraid.
Oh, of course they are. And it's like, I'm talking to you like, yeah, I hope you get more guns. I'm not afraid of you because I have no reason to be, because I'm not going to do anything to hurt you, right? So I'm not coming after your guns. Right. People need to literally look at it that way. Like, they seriously must be planning on doing something to us that would require us to use them, because if they weren't, then why do they want to take them so bad?
Right.
You think about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they've been coming after him for a long time, and it's all part of that, because they want control.
Yes.
Want to control us.
Yeah, that's all they really want is control. And the one party likes to control people with, we're the Republicans, and they like to kind of pander to certain beliefs that more Republicans have. Then the other side does it to the more liberal-minded people. But I feel like they all get together and huddle in the back room, and they're like, we just need to get together. You control this half, we'll control this half, but combined, we just have to control everybody.
Yeah, that's exactly how it sounds. That's exactly. And I just feel like this country is so huge now. I was talking about this with my mom. It's like, this country used to be very small. We have 330 million, something roughly about that, people in this country now. That is a huge country. That is huge. So I just think there's so many people here and so many ideas and so many, so much diversity, and that's a good thing. But I think that it's set us up to have just like, it feels like two countries in one. That's kind of how I feel. Like, we just couldn't be more different, and they're trying to force us all to live with each other. But at the same time, they're doing all of these things to incite more tension. Yep. I don't know. Something's got to give.
I've actually thought about that too. It is interesting because this type of government, this constitutional republic, because we're not a democracy and we can't be one. It's weird. It's like it worked perfect when they first set it up. I hope this isn't the case, but is there just too many people to have a republic? I don't know.
This is the time I want to say that, but maybe. I was talking about that with my mom, and I was like, you know what? This government was working really well up to a point, but like with hundreds of millions of people, I mean, this maybe is just not, there has to be something added or something. I think that the Constitution should always be the framework, should always be a part of our foundation. But I'm like, we have a lot of people now. If you're trying to keep us all together, I mean, it's not really working that great anymore.
I know. And it's interesting because some people would say right away, hey, let's just split the country in half. Conservatives can have one half, liberals can have the other, and we'd all be happy. Maybe. It sounds great in a way, but then if you think about it, I don't know. I think we'd be totally fine with it. Let me make that clear. But liberals actually count on people like me and you working our butts off to support them, so I don't think they'd be too happy, would they?
No, because I've done a lot of reading on that, and I've made that video about it, and I still read about it. And the liberal media will have these headlines and saying like, they talk of secession or whatever, and that's never going to happen. But the whole tone is like, we could never do that. But I'm like, you guys are afraid because we're over here funding all of your wild Green New Deal ideas. It's like someone has to pay for all of that. And it's like all of us over here that just want to keep our head down and go to work and make our money and pay our taxes, so many taxes, and we're funding all of your wild ideas. So you need us, so you don't want to divorce us. That's the reality of the situation.
I know. And what's interesting is they want us to be just like them. But do they really? Because if we all become just like them and just sit in mom's basement and go to peaceful protests where we burn down cities all the time, who's going to pay for the gas money to do that, right?
Yeah, well, honestly, we can never be just like them because that's like not what is in our heart and soul. Like if I had the opportunity to sit at home all day long and do nothing and be on the couch, I would want to go to work. I would want to like live my passion, help people. Like I would want to do something productive. That's just not who I am. And I don't think that's who we are. I don't even know what to call it. If you call it Patriots, I don't really even know. Because it almost kind of feels like, and people have been throwing around the idea of like, is there going to be a third political party created? And because it feels like there's so many of the rhinos or whatever that now it's not even really, we don't really have representation in the government right now. We really don't.
I don't feel like I am.
I feel like I feel like all of the people that represented how I feel just got completely shot down and they're being like vilified and horrible things are happening to them now.
Yeah, I totally agree. I will bust you on one thing though, because I have a little bit of inside access to you. You did it. You did brag to me that you were going to lay on the couch and eat potato chips all day.
That's because I was sad. That's because I was sad. But
As you should be.
I do like to lay on the couch and eat chips.
Well, I'll confess too, though. Okay, so it wasn't just you, because we're texting back and forth, and these people are like driving us both crazy. Like, what's wrong with these people? They're idiots. And then you're like, what are you doing? I'm like, just made myself a cup of chocolate milk. And then I looked down on my phone and there's a picture and you had a glass of chocolate milk too.
We were drinking chocolate milk at the same time. Who even drinks chocolate milk anymore? Apparently we both do at the exact same time. That's just so crazy.
Yeah, just me and you. So but I think that being, I don't know, just so other people know, like that's what was going on. That's what normal people were doing in America is we're texting our friend and we're losing our whole country and we're drinking our chocolate milk and we're like, what the heck are we going to do? And that's literally kind of what you have to do right now a little bit, right?
Yep. Yep.
And then you come right back the next day and you're like, okay, now there's a battle at the Michigan State Capitol and we need to get right back in the fight.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got to go out there and fight, and then you do need your downtime. I think that's a really good point. You do have to go out there and fight, but you do have to like have those moments of like, you know, decompressing and having that downtime. I think that's important too. It's a stressful time, so you know, got to take care of yourself and all that fun stuff.
Exactly. So that's what I wanted to stress. I think this people really need to kind of, if they can, I don't know how to word this, just compartmentalize a little bit. Like, yes, we need tons of vigor. We need to have tons of exuberance to fight the good fight because they're trying to take our country. But I think some people are becoming just a little bit too obsessed and they're reading just too much. Like they look down at their parlor feed and there's like 35 breaking news, Sidney Powell this and Trump that. And it's just like, maybe people should turn that crap off for about 8 hours a day and just read it for a couple hours. I don't know.
Yeah. I like that advice. I do think that because I called you when I was doing that, because I was, you know, watching it on my phone, watching it on TV, texting people, texts are coming in and it's just, you can get overloaded and it can like really cause you to feel really, really bad inside. And I imagine that if that's happening to me, it's happening to other people. But what you just said is the solution to be aware of it and check out from time to time and, you know, be in the fight sometimes and then take the time to check out so you can recharge your battery.
Yes, and that's what people do. Even people that were in the armed services, they'll go out and drill really hard all day and they'll run with their gear on and they'll do fire simulations. But then they do go back to the barracks and sleep too. Like that is part of it, right?
Right.
No matter what the fight is.
I mean, we don't want a bunch of like frazzled, stressed out patriots out there just spinning around that don't know what to do. It's like we have to stay focused.
Yes, and I think, you know, it's been a few days since for me it really hit home. Now there's still people out there, and I'm not going to judge them. They need to decide for themselves, but they haven't really accepted it yet. So, hey, I'm just going to give everyone as much time as they need. Once they can come to terms and accept what truly just happened and accept what's going to be happening, I hope they can kind of just focus on moving forward, you know?
Yeah. And when you say what's going to be happening, that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, like we still have a chance. Like we still have an opportunity to push back.
Yes, I'm glad you clarified that.
We're not doomed, you know, because a lot of people are like, oh, dark days. There's a lot of dark narrative talk out there, and we're not doomed yet. We're really not. And I think it's important for us to, end on that kind of a note.
I'm so glad that you clarified that, because what I was thinking when I said what's going to be happening, I didn't mean that we're going to lose every right tomorrow. What's going to happen no matter what is this. They're going to be attacking our rights. That's inevitable. But the outcome, we have just as much control as they do. Because here's how I think people should look at this if they want encouragement. These fellow patriots, right? A lot of people that voted for Trump, right? Well, okay. According to the AP, it was like, 85 million to 75 million. According to studies, a lot of people think that wasn't the real number. So if there's really more of us than there is them, that actually means if we can get together, we can actually win this. What do you think?
We can. And I think a lot of the division has been created in this sick way from the establishment, because a lot of people on the left, they're just like low information people. And I think a lot of people can learn more and dig more into it, and then we can wake them up. So I think we can also try to educate people and, bring them to the light. But yeah, what you said, I agree completely.
Yeah. So I guess basically, I don't know. I think this is good, and we should put this up to help people. Where I'd kind of like to conclude with this little segment, if you would, is this. Look, I'm still grieving to a point. I'm still really mad. I've been able to start getting into the moving on phase the last couple days. Maybe you're not quite ready yet, but I think you're getting ready to transition. I think people need to take as much time as they need to grieve, but you don't have a year to grieve. I think people need to kind of just get over it, get it out of your system, and start using all this energy into something positive. What do you think?
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
And I think a lot of our talk today was us just acknowledging how crappy it is. And I think that's actually fine right this second. We need to realize how crappy it is. But I'd like for us to come back on here in the future and keep talking about this as we're starting to get more positive and starting to formulate actual plans. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that could be very helpful, and I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, because everybody out there has a friend and stuff, but I think sometimes people have a hard time thinking of these conversations. And where I'm lucky to have a friend like you is you and I can talk about this. And I just want people to know this is what friends are doing. This is what fellow patriots are doing. You and I are having these same conversations on the phone, even when we're not on camera. And I think that's what everyone should be doing, right?
Yeah, we literally do this all the time, and it gives me so much support and strength, and I just feel so lucky to have a friend like you. And so I think that's why it's good for us to put that piece of our friendship out here like this, because I think it could help other people too. But
yeah, likewise.
Exactly what we do. We literally were getting on the phone tonight. We're going to have this conversation. We would have had this if we didn't record it. This is exactly what we would have had. This is exactly what we do.
And we've had 5 or 6 conversations where after we're done, we're both just like, wow, if we could have just shared this with other people, because it was the best conversation ever.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And we care about the people that are here, watching these videos. And I think that comes through, that they can feel like they have a friend in you, and they have a friend in me too. And that, it's corny to say it, but we are in this together, and we're going to get through it. And we're all having the same emotions that you're having, and we're all going to be okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were saying to each other. We've said it 5 times. We were just too stupid to hit record before the other 4 times. But yeah. I'm like, man, there's so many good people out there that hang out with us in these streams and both of our videos, that let's just hang out with everybody, and then they can come in and comment afterwards, and we can all just kind of, I don't know, go along together, and I don't know, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yep, exactly. Well said.
All right. Do you think that was good?
I think you nailed it.
I nailed it. I think you nailed it.
I think you crushed it.